Sorry about the mess.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious.
Congratulations, Home Economics, coming back next week on the 21st on ABC.
Thank you. Well,
Season
that's not
3.
what's important, guys. It's not just that we're premiering next week. It's that we, and this was a lot of work to get to do, we go to Disneyland in the premiere, and we shoot most of it at Galaxy's Edge. And
No!
oh no, we have a lightsaber duel in it. Like it's Chewbacca's in it, and R2, and when they take R2 out of the box, you guys, like, I mean, it's really something. You're the people I'm talking to that would love it the most. But it's like, first of all, I'm sure you've been, right?
Yeah, yes. Oh yeah. We just went a few months ago.
Just that reveal. I'd been once with our old friend Kyle Newman, but
Sure.
Just walking out at night, which I'd never been there at night, and they, unloaded the cameras and started filming us in front of the Millennium Falcon. I went like, oh, this was totally worth it. I mean, we had to pay so much more money to get the production there, but the value of how it looks. I mean, your brain is just trained to go, oh, this shot must have cost $8 million because that's what it looks like. And then we have I guess I'll kind of give you a couple spoilers, but like my brother, who's played by Jimmy Tatro, the end of last season was that my book isn't coming out because the publishing house, after all this work, it's the narration device of the show. I've been
right. And you're a writer on the show.
Yeah. And so this book is finally coming out. And then the publishing house is going to go under, and he kind of secretly buys, he's much richer than me. It's kind of what the show's about. So he buys the publishing house without telling me and kind of saves it. But then he has to tell me. So that's why he's bringing me to Disneyland, is to tell me when I'm at my happiest. But when I find out I'm so mad, we start getting this lightsaber duel. And the writers wrote the greatest line for it. And we're in front of the Millennium Falcon, and we start dueling. And then he knocks the saber out of my hand, and I'm clinging to this lamppost. I mean, and they had like a wind machine on me.
It's not true.
I know. He goes, you don't know enough about your publisher. And I go, I know enough. And then, he knocks me to the pole. He goes, I am your publisher. And I go, no.
Oh, this is going to be great.
We were getting into it. Like, it was, first of all, it's cool at nighttime to use the lightsabers. The ambient light is hitting you, and it looks like the movie, the Millennium Falcon behind you. And then they brought out R2 and Chewbacca, who, like, I mean, I know everyone said this, but everyone on set gave him a hug. It was really it was really fun. And then we go do Smuggler's Run, which we had to actually build the cockpit on our set back at our stage. And that was another experience.
No kidding. So so in the episode, they'll show the characters doing the Smuggler's Run, but you had to do some of that back.
We actually did I hope this doesn't take away the joy of watching it. I don't think so, because even the cast just watched it and we're like, it's tough to shoot because you have to shoot between 1 a.m. and 7 a.m. That's the time at which no one's on these rides. So it's really like you're wiped. But in order to shoot it, we shot in the Falcon part that's the waiting room that has the chessboard and stuff.
Right.
And again, the production value is just insane.
Yeah.
And then we shot half the scene. The scene that's facing us is in a cockpit we built on our set back home. But then when you turn around and it's showing the ride, we kind of doubled it. We shot it in 2 places.
Oh, I see. Okay. And
what
role did you play when you were on Smuggler's Run?
Yeah, were you the pilot?
Well, there's 2 pilots, right? There's like an up and down and a left and right.
Right.
Yeah.
I was left, right. No, I'm sorry. I think I'm up, down. I don't know. It was such a blast. I mean, we had to do it. We had to do it like, 20 times.
Oh, how did you handle that 20 times in a row?
Oh,
it's a set, though. It's a set.
We
on the set, though, right?
No, he really did.
Too.
You said you really did do the ride like 20 times, right?
Oh yeah, we did the Incredicoaster. That was the one where, because it goes upside down, where Jimmy turned to me. He's like only 30, and we were so, like the first time we were psyched, the second time we were psyched, like the 5th time, he goes, "This is starting to feel like work."
I tell
at an
you,
amusement park.
I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I loved being on Smuggler's Run, but I don't think I could have gone on it a second time, like right after. I was so motion sick on, and I was the main pilot, and I was trying to really get into it, so I wasn't thinking about like Han Solo wouldn't get motion sick. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, you did great. Jason gets motion sickness by watching a plane take off. So I mean.
True.
Yeah, you did great. You did, but he did tap out at one point. He said, "No more of these motion rides where we're looking through a screen."
Guys, when we were there, the cast broke off at one point.
Yeah,
kind of at dawn when the park was opening, and we did Rise of the Resistance. Like I've never.
That's mind blowing.
I was almost like, this is too much. Like I didn't actually want to be this deep in the Star Wars universe. Like it's so. It was so amazing. Jimmy just kept saying, I went with Jimmy and Carlo, who plays my wife on it, and Jimmy she keeps making fun of him because he keeps just repeating the word why. Or no, I'm sorry, how.
Yeah, like, how are they doing this?
How?
Yeah.
Like how? I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
It was so
and just when you think it's going to wind up or wind down and the ride's over, something else mind-blowing happens.
No, by the way, then you're like, wait, we're not even on the ride yet. That was just part of the line.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It really brought me back when we were doing it. I had like a near religious experience when I was in 7th grade. I was having the 7th grade that anyone who loves Star Wars as much as we do probably had a rough 7th grade. And, and probably Star Wars helped me get through it to an extent, movies that I loved at that time. And then my parents took me to Orlando, and they had the Star Tours was like maybe a year or two old at that point. And I wasn't like trying to be an actor when I was a kid, but my dad told me recently that he thought I might become an actor or just very weird because we would be in line, and C-3PO would be talking to you. It's like a clearly animatronic,
sure.
But he was like, wait here and you'll be on your ship to Endor anytime, and I was like answering him.
Oh yeah.
Like I was like, thanks 3PO, I'll chill here. There's something going. But truly that MGM Studios, which is in Orlando, which had Star Tours, and then Universal Studios, which had like the Back to the Future ride and some other incredible stuff. It was only because film was doing so well at that time. There was like VHS and foreign, and it really was such a cash cow that all of a sudden there were these studios in Florida. I'd never been to LA, but I kind of silently promised myself I'm gonna go to LA at some point. Like it's just too magical seeming.
Wow. Yeah, so having that immersive of an experience informed your fascinating.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm so glad Home Economics is going to Galaxy's Edge because I was really hoping for you guys to do some sort of Star Wars reference along the way in the first couple seasons, and I don't think we got any. I tried researching this before you were on.
No,
looking for any Star Wars reference. Yeah, but
it's not a surprise that my character is into it. I mean, he's into the whole Disneyland experience. But then we shot in the cantina too, which was very, very cool. And they brought out like, I think the food there is great. Like, I know it's all supposed to be like weird, but I actually thought it was delicious. And that was like our midnight snack because we were shooting so late at night. But
we had a few drinks there. No, we shared a few drinks.
It's also cool that it's when it's empty. Like to be in Disneyland when it's
I'll bet.
Oh, you're like Elvis.
Yeah, that's it was just a very cool experience. Like we're walking around, the moon is on the water where that ferry is and stuff. It's like it's beautiful. Yeah.
Wow. Wonderful. Well, like I said, I'm glad that the references are there. We did review a bunch of your greatest Star Wars moments on that 70s show before we had you on. And we have a brief clip of what is voted on our favorite Star Wars moment from that 70s. So it's a brief clip. We're going to play it now, and we can discuss afterwards.
Jedi Knight. Jedi dumbass.
Great. Kurt Ward Smith.
I just went and did one episode because I have a day job, but I did the first episode of that 90s show, which is going to be on Netflix.
Wow, I was going to ask if you're going to be involved.
And, in that episode, it's like Ashton, Mila, and Laura, and
Everyone.
and Kurtwood, who you just heard in that clip, and Deborah Joe, and a great group of new kids who are fantastic, who are, you know, what the show's really about. But to walk out, I mean, if you guys think it's cool, and it is, to go to Galaxy's Edge and be like, oh my God, there's Millennium Falcon. You can't imagine how cool it was for us as a cast to walk back in to a perfectly recreated version of that set. And
Wow.
it was a real trip. It was a really
can
fun
imagine.
week. I was telling people it's like going to your high school reunion and then going back to school.
Yes.
Was Wilmer with you guys too?
He did do it. He and
Good.
Tommy Chong did different episodes. I think because of a CSI, or he's on NCIS, but they and I actually went the night that he taped just to go hang out with him because we were really close.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. And of course, you've worked with Tommy Chong on that 70s show. You worked with Cheech Marin on Home Economics.
Yeah, we just did a flashback on Home Economics to 2009, which like doesn't seem like that long ago to me, but Jimmy, who's much younger than me, was like, "Oh man, this is when I was in 8th grade," and I was like, "Oh, screw you." But he was. He's like, you know, like everyone's like got different hairstyle. We really made a thing of it, even though 2009 doesn't seem that long ago. But everyone's watching like they're wearing Live Strong bracelets and talking about Avatar coming out and, you know, all that. But Cheech came back as because it's our wedding, as my wife's father, and he's amazing, and the music at that time, it's also specific. It starts with that Madalahi, Madalaha, you know that song. It's all that kind of stuff. It was really fun.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. So for everyone interested, Home Economics launches next Wednesday, the 21st. Be there to see Topher Grace in Galaxy's Edge, along with the rest of that.
I think we're the first to get to
cast.
Galaxy's Edge, right?
I don't know of any other
No, I don't know
sitcom
either.
that's done this.
And we would have
film
known.
or-
We'd have heard about it.
No,
Wouldn't you
no,
have thought
no.
that like The Mandalorian or one of these shows would have shot there?
Yeah, I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. But
Well,
Well, Mandalorian and Grogu are supposed to be showing up in just a few weeks at Galaxy's Edge. So there'll be characters that will be walking around in the environment. So who knows? Maybe they'll try to create some sort of canon or continuity. This show that Mando and Grogu are hanging out there on what's the name of the planet?
Batu.
Batu.
Yeah,
I know that
see,
because
there-
that was one of my lines.
You knew that one.
Yeah.
You knew that one, Topher. So, Topher, before we let you go, we got this some very specific Star Wars questions to ask you. This is not
Oh,
a
hit me.
trivia contest. This is all personal opinion and preference. This is the Yoda Questionnaire. These are questions that were faxed to us, faxed by Yoda himself. They
Oh, wow.
don't have email on Dagobah.
Are you gonna do the voice for it?
Not even a
You gonna do
voicemail.
the
No,
voice?
no. It's do the voice. No, we don't. We don't. He's given us specific instructions not to use his voice because he thinks we're mocking him.
Right.
He's,
He's
he's
like kind of
powerful.
people like that. Yeah.
he's powerful. He's knowledgeable, but he's also a little sensitive. So we don't want to mess with
He's
him.
been in show business for a long time, man. He's one of those
he
like,
has.
you know, he's stuck around. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he really has. He really has. You've stuck around. I mean, my God, you've had a 25-year career. It's been amazing.
Oh, thanks, man.
And I mean, and it shows no signs of slowing down. But the Yoda career might completely derail that career for you. So, no, you'll have a lot of fun with this. There are no wrong answers, but there are answers that you may be shamed for.
Yeah.
There are answers you may be celebrated for.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
this is just how it works.
Let's do
So here we go.
The Yoda Questionnaire.
Thank you, Richard Cheese. The Yoda
Oh, wow, that's Richard
Questionnaire.
Cheese himself. Wow.
That is
Yeah.
Richard Cheese.
That's a big,
Yes.
big chunk of cheese right there.
As Jimmy said, there are no wrong answers, but there are some answers that are more right than others.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's a good way of putting it.
Yes.
I'm not going to answer for you guys or for the fan base. I'm going to answer for one person. Okay.
Yes.
That's it. That's it. One person, me. He's the Han Solo of the Yoda Questionnaire. Let's do it.
All right. Topher Grace, what or who? So we're going to be inclusive here. What or who is your favorite Star Wars character?
Oh man, you're starting off tough.
That's what we do.
I mean, should I go with a lead character or like a small character?
Oh, no.
Any character you
No
want.
lifelines here. This is all from you.
Okay, let me tell you something. I know Empire is supposed to be better than A New Hope. I know, whatever. I'm supposed to like Han Solo more than Luke. And I get it. As I got older, I understand what everyone's talking about. But I like Luke Skywalker and I like A New Hope. Okay?
Yeah. No. There's nothing wrong with that.
And anyone who says they liked Han Solo more, you go, yeah, but like when you were 5, really?
Right. Oh, I know. There's a lot of retconning their Star Wars fandom. I always liked Han.
In my 40s, I'm like, yeah, maybe this kid's a little on the whiny side or whatever. But like,
no, he was us when we were kids.
If you're thinking about when you're younger, you're thinking about swinging across, that piece of rope he throws up, swinging across that bridge.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the superhero moment that we all wanted to have as kids.
But I hear what you're saying, Topher, because most people do. It's the cool thing to say Empire Strikes Back is your favorite.
And it's the right, it's kind of the right answer. And it's the right answer to say Han Solo too. But I think when I really think of that movie in its purest form, when I first saw it, you can only access it through Luke Skywalker.
Well, and I just think in terms of Hollywood history, it's the Gone with the Wind, it's the Wizard of Oz, it's that classic, the Star Wars, the original Star Wars.
I'll tell you a Star Wars story. I don't think I've ever told. I was, my character in 70 Show was obviously obsessed with it. And each night, because it's like a live taping in front of an audience, Home Economics is like a single camera, but this is a 4-camera. I used to go up in the middle of the show when the energy was kind of dragging and say hello to the audience and answer some questions or whatever. Other actors did it too. And I went up one night and I was answering a question. I said, "Oh my God." And it was Mark Hamill. But no one knew he was there. He was like incognito, and I blew up his spot, and all of a sudden everyone was going on. And so then I got down and kissed his feet in front of the audience. So I'm like, "It's you." But he was really sweet about it. He just brought his daughter there and was like, "Hey man, we were kind of like no one was bugging us."
And now everybody wants an autograph.
Yeah. Well, he needed to ask the question. So do you know what the question was that Mark asked?
Oh, no, he didn't ask a question. I just pointed him in the crowd and said, "Look, everyone, look who's here."
You totally outed him.
He was incognito, Mac. He didn't want to ask a question. He didn't want anybody seeing it.
I see.
All right, so that was a trip to the light side. We're going to go on a journey over to the dark side. Who or what is your least favorite Star Wars character?
Well, I think some of the stuff that went down with that band in Jabba's palace in the re-release.
The Joe Yowza.
Who's the guy where you see the thing in the back of his throat?
Yeah, the epiglottis is dropping down.
I'm not sure if that was in the language of the rest of that movie. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, Joe. I got to say, Topher, this is the first Joe Yowza we have ever had on the Yoda Questionnaire.
It felt like it was a little bit out of character the rest of the film.
Yeah, it was a little cartoony.
Jar Jar, right? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Jar Jar's a popular answer on this one. What is your favorite Star Wars line? Is there a line of dialogue that just every time you hear it, you go, it's a great line?
It's funny talking to you guys and thinking about it. I only think about me being 6 or 7 when I'm, you know what I mean? Like
that's what you gotta do. Yeah. So
I guess, may the Force be with you. I mean, we almost tried to work it into the Star Wars segment of the Home Economics premiere, and it's almost so overused. It's like beyond cliche at this point. But when I think about it, when I first watched it, just the fact that there was this like kind of club you felt like you were in after watching that movie is what makes it amazing. Like all of a sudden you were in the club.
Yes.
To do the handshake.
It was like the password.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a least favorite Star Wars line? Star Wars is one of those where you got a lot of hits with the dialogue. You got some misses. Is there one that you hear and it just makes you cringe?
Probably that thing when that guy's talking about sand and like, how it's I don't know.
All right. Well, that's a classic. Most people do.
You guys hear that one a lot?
That's been mentioned a lot. Yeah. It's if we did stats for this, that would be pretty strong.
I've read lines like that a lot in scripts, and it smacks of whoever wrote it being like, "Oh my God, I got it. Like, I got it. Like, perfect. Like, it's the perfect analogy. You're gonna blow people's minds.
It's always the line that the writer's most excited about. That's
Yeah, that's the first
the
one
worst.
you should cut. Sure, yeah.
Yeah. I would bet if we had Hayden Christensen in the cantina, he would probably say that his least favorite line of all time is sand, it gets everywhere. Just to guess.
Sand gets everywhere, man. It's like in all parts of your clothes.
What job, if you were to be transported into the Star Wars universe, and you kind of were with Galaxy's Edge, what job would you most like to have in a galaxy far, far away?
Whoa, great question. It's kind of neat the way they're expanding those worlds so much, because it makes you think about. I was watching the Andor trailer, and it's like, oh, it really makes you think about different parts of the world. You know, when it's that Skywalker saga, it's just, you know what I mean? It's just those characters, but I love that they're kind of expanding it responsibly. Yeah, I'm trying to think of, like, when it's not that storyline, what are the other jobs?
Well, you know, someone's got to clean out the trash compactor.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
Be a bus driver.
I want to I want to hang out with Lando.
bartender.
Wherever Lando's going to club.
Lando!
That sounds like a fun place. I don't know if
Maybe
I want to
his-
do a job with him, but I definitely want to, if he's like, yo, come with me, let's hang out. I'd be like, that
Let's
guy
go.
looks like fun.
He's who
You
you
could be
want
the
to
casino host at Cloud City or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
He'd be pretty fond of you in that position. So
It's kind of like wherever Lando is, that's where I want to be, because that's
Yeah, I
probably
wanna
where
be
the
at the party,
action
yeah.
is. Yeah.
okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
What moment in Star Wars always makes you smile? Is there one scene or some moment in the films?
I think it's that, what they call the bridge that has the hole in it that they have to take. Oh, you know what? That, and then someone told me there's something about flight in all the top 10 biggest, highest grossing films of all time. So like Avatar has flight, E.T. has flight, like Titanic kind of has like I'm king of the world, and they're like soaring. Like there's something about when people like leave the ground that is like a, you know, a real feeling to people watching it. And I would say on that respect also in Return of the Jedi, when that was the first one I saw in the theaters. That's how it timed out for me. And when
Same.
it's like, you're like, this is going so bad. Like the first half of this, like this like rescue doesn't seem to be working. And of course, my parents probably knew like they'll get their way out of this, but at that age you don't know.
Right.
And when it's all like timed out, like, oh my God, Luke Skywalker's gonna have to walk the plank. And then, did you guys ever listen to Dave Collins' podcast?
Oh,
Yeah, sure. Sometimes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's the greatest, and that is the greatest podcast I've ever listened to. I don't even think I bumped into him once, and I was like, "You're not even." Like, I don't know how he could make any money doing it, and because it's literally like teaching a college class. But he talks about that scene and what it is for the music of that. But he has a whole like revelation about being the same age as I was, and you're like, oh my God! Then everything goes right all of a sudden. Like R2 shoots out that lightsaber and he catches it, and he's swinging on that vine, and then it's like, oh my God, it's a green lightsaber! Like what?
Yes. Well, that was the moment when Luke Skywalker became my hero. That was the moment. I was 6 years old in the theater, and it was like, because I saw A New Hope on HBO like 4 months before I saw Return of the Jedi in the theater, and so I saw the first chapter, the final chapter, and then it wasn't until my uncle got a Laserdisc copy of Empire that I got to see
Whoa.
that. So that was
You're
a
like,
real
whoa,
weird order.
Stuff really went down in between those two things. Yeah.
Yeah. All I had was the read along book on 45. That's how I knew
I
of
think
Empire.
I had that too, and like I think I knew it was too dark for me at the time. Like it's an acquired taste. That second one, it's tough if you're younger,
It is. It's very intense.
Just having
because
an
it
ending
lacked
that's unresolved is
Right.
doesn't happen a lot in film. Yeah.
it lacks the optimism that we were feeding off of the first one so heavily.
Right.
And then you get the second one, and the open ending and everything. Well, you really just, as a kid, didn't know how to feel walking out of the theater. You knew you loved it, and you felt like you saw something really cool and exciting, but it wasn't uplifting like the original one.
Can I
was.
tell you another thing that I really loved recently was I thought the first episode of The Mandalorian, I was like, okay, yeah, like good. And then that second episode, like where he's on top of the sand crawler fighting with the Jawas and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, what's happening? Like I'm in it. Like I'm 100% back in it. I really think Jon Favreau is a genius, and he did like an amazing job with that. I really, and I was older now, but to get me back in it on like the level I was when I was a kid, I thought was really genius. And to be able to do it
well,
on
you just
TV,
brought up, that moment when in Jedi, when Luke, jumps off the plank and then everything turns around. In some ways, it was like that attack of Mando on the Sandcrawler was like when I became a full-on fan of that character and really cared about him. He became Star Wars to me. So it's kind of a similar moment.
There were a couple, actually. I really like that show. There were a couple of moments where when they're escaping from that prison or something in the second season.
With Bill Burr and
you're also like, just show me what are the specs on the budget of this show. Like it's like
wow,
not as big as the Lord of the Rings budget, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's amazing the magic that they make. What Star Wars moment always makes you sad? Is there one? Does a little tear ever well up in Topher's eye? Is there a sad Star Wars moment for you?
Probably like 10 minutes after Phantom Menace ended. And I was like, wait a second.
What did I just see?
What?
Yeah, what was that? Like, wait, what? Like, I was really caught up when I was watching it, but then I remember I brought the two writers who wrote the episode that you just quoted on your show. I brought them to the premiere, and we were like really psyched, and like it was a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting night for a lot of Star Wars fans. Yeah, it sure was. All right, we have one last question here. If there was another Star Wars movie to be made and you were cast in it and George Lucas came back as director, what would you like to hear George say to you after he yells cut on your final scene?
Wait, so now I've done the whole movie with him.
Whole movie. It's a wrap. Yeah.
Wrap.
What words would you like to hear George say?
Topher, come over here. And then he just whispers in my ear, I'm going to give you, 10% gross profit participation.
Wow.
It's all about the Benjamins. It's all about the money.
Sets you up. Topher, I know you're.
You want me to tell him what to say?
We want the real answer. 10%. Wow.
Topher, I know you're a parent and your daughter's still pretty young, but has she shown any sort of interest in Star Wars at all?
She doesn't. We're going. At first, we were going no screens, and now we're going very few screens.
Yeah.
Especially because we have a second. We actually have a third on the way too. So
no kidding. Congratulations.
Can't go zero screens with that many kids. But
no, you can't.
We haven't introduced it. And I'm really excited to show all of them, but I feel like I have to let go of being really controlling about how it happens. It should just happen the way it happened to me, which I had the same thing. I saw the first one, the third one, and years later I saw the second one, and it didn't diminish it for me. And I'm going to try to chill out if none of them are into it and they all like Harry Potter, which is what their mom likes.
Well, there's room for both, I think. And
I agree. I do think
if
you guys had to start with one now, because I feel like maybe starting with A New Hope is like is slow, maybe.
Yeah.
How would you enter? What would be your way you would have someone enter it?
Well, I mean, there's so many different ways now because you also have animated shows, you have the streaming show. I mean,
but what's the way that someone watches it? I still think maybe it's A New Hope where you watch it and you go, I love this. Like, I want to know all the stuff about it.
I don't think kids of today will watch 77's A New Hope and come away with that feeling. I don't. No? I do not. No.
Or maybe I should do it now when she doesn't know a lot. You know what I mean? She hasn't seen a lot of other movies.
Right.
Once you watch a couple Marvel movies, it's slow.
And that's what I'm getting at, because they do feel that the originals are slower. I'm talking about the kids of today, because it is different from what they're accustomed to. I think that two great gateway characters for kids are Ahsoka and little Anakin, young Anakin. So my daughter became a big fan of Ahsoka, and I thought she was going to be a big Rey fan, but even when she was 10, 11 years old, she saw that wasn't really going anywhere. And but Ahsoka, she's really into. And my son thought Anakin, little 12-year-old Anakin in Phantom Menace was pretty cool. So I think could look into the animation. I think the animation is a good gateway.
And
I really do.
Good way to start.
A solid gateway, which has become more and more apparent in the last few years, for children to get into Star Wars is Star Wars Lego. The Lego stuff, whether it be the games, the play sets, or the animated specials. Kids really like that. My son, when he was young, he was very young, and he came to me and he said he knew that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father before I showed him Empire Strikes Back.
That's a bummer. Wait, were you in the theater was it revealed to you in the theater?
It was not. I actually read the novelization before I saw the film in 1980.
Well, that's cool.
And Topher, that was the last time I did that. I never wanted to spoil anything for myself again ever after that.
Kind of Walden's book.
Being in a theater in 1981 or whatever it was, and you're watching that movie. I mean, I've seen on YouTube, it's great. Like, they have some video reactions of it, and the audience is like, I mean, people are like pulling chairs out of there, like out of the ground. I mean, they can't believe what's going on.
Yeah. There was a gasp. I would say a gasp. But the problem with my son knowing this was, I said to him, "Well, how do you know this? I haven't even shown you the movie yet." He said, "Robot Chicken." So you have to be careful before other entertainment corrupts them.
Seth Green
at a young age.
Yeah.
Damn Seth.
I know Seth. I'll beat him up for you. Don't worry.
Yeah, he's ruined the movie for many people.
I don't. We can't lay that on Seth Green's feet. My God. Well, Topher, it's been fantastic to talk to you. The show is Home Economics, and it's going to be hitting next week on ABC Wednesday nights. See the gang go to Galaxy's Edge. I can't wait.
And by my math, I will be talking to you guys in 2032.
Yeah,
we'll have to get you on before that. Well, maybe there'll be another Home Economics Star Wars episode where you might need us, and you'll come.
If this works, then
this will work. Oh, this will work.
Or come on with Kyle Newman and see if you can get a word in.
Yeah, that's also the thing.
By the way, the fiercest defender of that trilogy, like.
Oh yeah.
That's what that guy, he loves it all.
He sure does. Sure does. Well, congratulations on everything. And it's been an absolute blast to talk to you.
Thanks, you guys.
All right. Take care.
Thank you, Topher.